And we welcome you back here to Open. Our next guest is a prominent thought leader on the impact of technology on society, work, and women's leadership and careers. She's authored 11 books, including Employed for Life, 21st Century Career Trends. Here now to tell us why resumes may fail over others and how to get that job you're qualified for is speaker and author Dr. Tracey Wilen. And thank you, Tracey, for coming here and being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So when we talk about this here, everybody now is out on the job market. They're on the hunt. And the resume is really, how big of a difference maker is it?
Well, most people assume that the resume is going to get them a job, but really it gets them an interview. And I think people have to understand that. And so the resume should be this eye-catching piece. It's almost like your press release that someone will pay attention to because you're qualified for a job. So it's pretty important.
So this is the first thing that people see is actually their first impression if they're looking and they have never seen you before. So you've got to have this resume.
That's right.
If people make mistakes all the time on it, what are some of the common mistakes that people make when filling out their resume?
Sure. I think the first thing is people do what we call spamming resumes. They spray and pray generic resumes to every job that they're totally not qualified for. And then they sit back and they wonder why they didn't hear back. Rather, I would encourage people to spend 95% of your time researching a job that is a perfect fit, and it may only be one a day, and only applying to that one. Because of software and technology, all of these resumes that you're spraying and praying are getting tracked. And so you will faster go into the garbage than be kept if you're really trying to jig the system.
So, some tips. I'm writing my resume. What are some of the things that I should do?
Okay, number one, if you're a student, 1 page. If you're an adult, 2 pages. Don't go any longer. There is truly this 20 to 30 second scan that a recruiter will give your resume, and they only can handle 1 or 2 pages. They're going to be looking for an accurate title. They're going to be looking for experience. They're going to be looking for skills. They're going to be looking for zip code, and they're going to be looking for education. Have all of that very clear.
Looking around saying, okay, listen, I'm scanning the resume. I'm a recruiter. I'm scanning the resume. I only have a few seconds to scan it. What are the things that they're looking for?
If you're looking for a director of marketing, you better have director of marketing on your resume. They don't want to hire people for what they want to do. They want to hire people who are actively doing the job that they want. They want to pull you out of your active job, or if you're not working and you were a director of marketing, those are the jobs you should be applying for. They're going to go match for match.
So make sure you're really specific about what the job that you're applying for.
Very specific, and make sure that you actually meet the credentials. And I say when you look at a job description, put your eye on the bottom, look at the 80%. If you don't match 80% of the criteria, don't even apply for it.
I was laughing when you did this one. You say students, they should have only 1 page. Adults should have 2 pages. I just got a resume not too long ago from a student, and it was actually 3 pages long. And I'm like, you haven't been around that long.
Yeah, I've been around that long. What can you do? Students, what I want you to do, though, is equate your academic experience into job experience. A lot of hiring managers can't do that translation. Show me in metrics. You're a team leader, you're on a sports team. Show me if you did volunteer work. Give me quantifiable metrics. Give me profit. Give me time. Things that I, as a hiring manager, can understand.
And another problem I know that people do is apply for jobs they're really, really, really not qualified for.
That's right.
Bad
It's
thing.
very bad, because I'll tell you why. You're applying for a job, and so are 10,000 other highly qualified people. Do you think you're going to get picked out over 10,000 people who are highly qualified? No. So don't even bother. You'd be better off taking your time to figure out what you are qualified for and go for that.
That's the most important thing. And, one thing that I find that people do on the resume is this word, lie.
Oh, and let me tell you, they will catch you. If you lie about your education, if you lie about your credentials in any way, you will be picked up and tossed out. If you're vying for a finance job, they'll check your financial background. They will do background checks. If you say you are a computer program, they will have you do a test. No employer wants to take a risk in bringing in an employee who is not qualified for a job, and they do more and more checks on each position.
So when you talk about lying about education, give an example.
So if you have not graduated from a college, do not say you graduated from college. Say you've attended a college. And you can even project when you think you're going to graduate, because they will check to see if you graduated. Some students unfortunately even put in defunct colleges and those have gotten picked up. In fact, a recruiter just told me that an adult put in a defunct college on his resume, and the employer found out and fired him on day one. Well, he didn't even get to day one. They just canceled their offer. It's serious stuff when you lie.
And so employers are always constantly checking. And so I'm a person out there, I want to work, but really my experience is not what it should be. What do I do when I don't have the necessary experience?
So if you don't have the necessary experience, I would encourage you to volunteer. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities. I just met a gentleman who was trying to get back into the job market. He volunteered for a hospital 1 day a week in information and technology role, and then he was absorbed into the system. I met another woman who worked as freelance, part-time work, get placed by a lot of these Manpower or Deco, pick up experience and computer skills so that you can keep writing it on your resume. And if you need to get a certification, consider that as well, because certifications hold weight and they can be done pretty quickly.
Internships?
Very big on internships. Students should be starting and asking about these not only in high school and in college and afterwards.
So, and you should document those on the resume.
It's real. The internship is, even if you're not getting paid and you're getting credits for it, it is real experience, and employers take that very seriously. They understand you're in college, but they want to see that you're making the most of your college experience, and you're also getting additional experiences that they can use in the future in their firm.
As you write your books here, obviously, you're trying to make somebody a little bit more proficient in the employment world. Given the fact that the job market is so scarce right now, what advice do you give to people, especially when you're trying to even make eye contact with somebody who's a prospective employer? Because there's so many jobs, and there are only so many jobs out there. How do I get the eye contact of that person? Believe
it or not, 65 to 75% of jobs are through networking. And the reality is that at the end of the day, people hire people. I can look at 10,000 resumes, or if you bring me in a star student or a star candidate, your referral means a lot to me, and employee referrals mean a lot to employers.
Social media, talk about that.
Do not mismatch, and I know it's hard to do, your resume and your social media, because you update your resume and then you forget to update your LinkedIn page or your Facebook page. Make sure that they're matched, because the first thing an employer does is we do a search. We try to see what you look like on Facebook, on Twitter, what your resume is, everything lined up, and also, do you have a good profile? If you don't have a good profile, get some of those photos off.
I was explaining to someone just a little while ago, Facebook and Twitter are probably the most
abused types of social media.
Yeah, I mean, it's the unauthorized background check.
It is, and you better start using Snapchat and clean up stuff, or have separate profiles, because everybody will Google you before you walk in the door. Don't kid yourself, they will.
They already know who's coming.
They know more about you than you think you do.
Yeah, yeah. So what is social media? What are the biggest mistakes that people make? Is it just not updating their information?
It's also using, social media. I would encourage people to decide, if you're looking for a job, is make it professional, right? Make it your professional, so that when you are searched, everything matches. Who you are, what your background is, the kind of expertise that you would like to position. If you were a marketing major or you have marketing expertise, position that. And bring in all your volunteer and all your experience to build that story, your brand. Because I, as an employer, want to see that in my company. So if you can do that using your social media, you're ahead of the game.
And last question before we let you go. Talk to us about on that resume. Obviously, that word, there's one word that always hangs out there, objective. Should you state what your objective is on your resume?
If you do an objective, make sure it has a focus. A lot of people just say, I'm a great person, I want to be employed. That's nice. We hire great people and we employ them. What I want you to say to me is, I have a vision, I am going to be pursuing director of marketing jobs or social media jobs, so that I can see it right away what you want. Then the rest of that resume better fill right up to that objective.
Right.
Otherwise, give me a quick highlight or summary.
And if I don't have an objective, does it hurt me?
No. I mean, today it could be subjective.
Okay. Dr. Tracey Wilen, thank you so much for coming and sharing some tips.
Thank you.
She's the author of 11 books. You saw her information at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you tap in and get one of them. Tracey Wilen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty, well, in other news, in its 8th year, the Wildlife Conservation Society's Run for the Wild is committed to raising awareness of the threats facing wildlife while raising money to help WCS conservation work at the Bronx Zoo and around the world. And our BronxNet correspondent, Nancy Asiama, has more on the story.